Back again, Footy and Frothies, Danaan and Daggy with you to have a quick look back at State of Origin number 2. What a day out it was for the New South Welshmen. We've also got round 17 to preview. Danaan, long time no see. How are you, bud?
Yeah, doing well, mate. Much better after last night's victory, that's for sure.
Sun's out, guns out. The new tats on the sleeve there. Give us a look at that.
Oh, yeah, got the kid's name. So it's just itchy. Put some cream on it. That's too cold to be putting a singlet to have a singlet on right now. But yeah, just pretty much the second I'm off this, I'm sure the shirt will be on because the cream will be dry.
And are you just wearing that singlet out of respect for Mitch Moses, or nothing else to wear?
It was the only clean one that was in the drawer. It's the last year they got the wooden spoon, so maybe it's a sign of things to come.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We don't hope. Let's talk about last night, though. 38-18, the Blues over the Maroons. A fantastic night out and a brilliant first half. Ashley Klein did his best to drag Queensland back in for the last 45 minutes or so. But apart from that, God, it was fun watching for a good half hour there. What did you take away from that?
Well, us being at Panthers last night, it felt like it was just only mattered what the Panthers players done and not what anyone else done.
And Latrell was quite popular, in fairness.
Yeah, and Stephen Crichton, the ex-Panther.
Mm-hmm. And Spencer Leniu, the other ex-Panther.
Yeah. So, no, that was a great game. It pretty much was the side that Madge wanted game one. And look at, good result. And it's amazing what happens when it's 13-on-13.
I guess we'll start from, I don't know, we're going to start here. I just thought it was fantastic. I thought there was not a bad player on New South Wales' side. Just looking down the list even, I couldn't fault any of them. They were tremendous. The pace was set, I thought, by Payne Haas in the first 15 minutes. He was outstanding, taking every second or third hit up, just went out of his way to really try and bully Queensland into submission. And pretty much succeeded. And on the back of that, on the back of Cam Murray's quick play the balls too, actually, we haven't spent a lot of time on talking about that, given all the other stars around. I thought Cam Murray was fantastic. But, Payne Haas had his best Origin outing by far. I thought he was sensational. And that just laid the platform for Angus Crichton and Mitch Moses to really just have almost the games of their lives. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to touch on first?
Well,
talk about your boy. Okay.
So, it's pretty much, it's kind of what we expected last week when we were chatting about it. One of two things was going to happen. He was either going to, it was a sink or swim type thing, and he definitely was swimming.
Oh, outstanding. Clean ball, early ball. Didn't have to do a lot, but bossed every time he did. Actually, one of my favourite moments in the game was where he nearly German suplexed Reece Walsh and decided he was going to launch him across the paddock, but thought better of it. But just dominant self. And to his credit, Stephen Crichton was probably just as good out wide. Didn't have a lot of ball, though. They definitely played left for lots of that.
Yeah, definitely. But, he was in their head, I think. Mm-hmm. Just with the, everything he'd done, they wanted to start pushing and shoving. And it was even the stuff off the ball. Like when Coates went up for the catch early on, when they were trying to apply some kick pressure, he just stood still. And Coates is 6 foot something, and he just, most people, if you've got somebody running into your back, jumping for the ball, running into your back, and they've cleaned you up, you'd be going down, and Coach just tumbled over, and Latrell stood there as if nothing happened. It was sort of like he was ready.
Absolutely. As I said, on the back of the setup from Haas, though, we saw the difference, and I don't want to make this a Nico bash up or anything, but the difference Angus Crichton getting clean early ball before the line, not so much flat at the line, he was phenomenal last night. He was, I thought, the man of the match, best player in the field. He's arguably his best performance, definitely in a Blues jersey, but maybe in rugby league. I know he's had some pretty good ones at club level, but I thought he was outstanding. Tackling wise, defensive wise, intimidation wise, offloads, breaking through the line, scoring a try. It was a 10 out of 10 game from Guzzy, and if Roosters don't turn around and offer him 950 plus whatever the hell they're going to offer for Feeder tomorrow, they got rocks in their heads. I thought he was sensational.
Yeah, definitely one of his best games. Definitely best game in a Blues jersey for Angus. But yeah, you're right. It was the setup. Everything just worked well. It's it must have. I'm guessing that was their game plan for game one, but you know, just a few people were out and the send off, so they had let's just do it again. We can do this. We've got 13 this time. I've got the players in here that I want. So I'm sure Madge wouldn't have changed much. It's just he got the players in that he wanted.
And on the back of all that great work from the forward pack, Mitch Moses, was it 5 try assists over the course of...
Four try assists. We equaled Brad Fittler's record for the most in a game. And I believe there was a stat he's got more try assists in that one game than most halves have had, or all halves have had since the start of the 2000 series or something.
Wow.
One of those random stats that pop up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was his best game of rugby league ever, like throughout his whole career. Like, yeah, Angus may have had another couple of good games throughout his, but Moses hasn't done anything like that before.
How are you feeling as a Parramatta fan?
Frustrated, because you know what he can do if he's got a good team around him.
Yeah. Oh, is that all? Okay.
And I think that was proven last night. And it started early with his long kicks before they even set up the first try.
Absolutely.
And that was the difference between him and Nico, I believe, because that was a chance Queensland could have been on top. And he's just, a couple of those big long kicks to the corners.
Well, I think earlier, in probably 5-6 minute mark, we were saying what a kick, whereas they didn't get that in game one. And DC's obviously the back foot halfback of the comp, and he never got a chance to even get onto the back foot, let alone the front foot, and made a massive difference.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just thought from there it was as good a kicking game as you'll see at any level. And that's what I said about Luai as well.
Yeah, well,
the other difference as well, you combine Luai's short kicking in, and as I've said it a little bit lately, there wasn't a bad kick. There was not a bad kick.
No, well, one of the things we mentioned last night during the game, I don't think we kicked a ball dead all game.
No.
Even the ones that weren't the best, Queensland was still getting tackled inside their 5 metre mark.
Mm-hmm. And on the back of
if your worst, if your worst kick of the night is resulting in Queensland being tackled 5 metres out, it's a pretty good night.
Absolutely. Bizza was fantastic. Got through his mountain of work. I think the stat was something like 70 plus hit ups from that back 4 or 5, all making meters, all getting involved. Lomax probably should be getting down on his hands and knees and thanking Shane Flanagan to where he's got him in his career right now, because if he was still playing centre, he wouldn't be playing Origin, I don't think, and he might be struggling for a job. And on the back of the outstanding work he's done on the wing, he is in the conversation for as good a winger as anyone else in the game at the moment.
Well, yeah, the argument would be he'd be the first winger selected for Australia right now.
Probably undeniably, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bizza, I guess Bizza's probably got one down pat. So, yeah, they completely outplayed the counterparts. Tuolungi didn't have a bad game, actually. But, yeah, Coates didn't bring a lot to the table. Apart from that, like I said, no one else had a bad game. Liam Martin was great. Cam Murray, we mentioned. Yo, I thought off the bench was very, very good. Lenu, a very good 20 minutes. What do you make of Dylan Edwards?
I think it was what the team needed in terms of the ball was able to get out to the edges.
Mm. I think
it wasn't stopped by Teddy in the middle.
Yes, I wouldn't have said. Obviously, I don't think Teddy being there would have been anything different because he was still hanging around. But I think some of those times he's hanging in a rack, he just doesn't stick his hands out to steal that ball that might have gone somewhere else, and he's also got that cutout, which I think Teddy's still got. But Edwards is perfectly serviceable. Dropped a sitter at one point, but apart from that, he'll be there for game 2. No probs. I'm trying to think of any. I can't add more. I just thought it was a complete performance. Outstanding from New South Wales. Suncorp's a different arena. So we'll see what Game 3 brings. But I imagine this will be the team they take up there. And no Cleary
Yeah.
coming. And even if he was, I don't think you can really change it out of fairness.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Yeah, Danny, I'll say, and I'm picking nits here, that if Appy plays, perhaps it might be 50. I thought, I'm still not sold on Reece Robson's service. I thought Connor Watson's was good for the time he's on the field, but get through his usual work.
Well, that Appy being in over Robson would be one thing. The other one is Jake Trbojevic starting, still had limited minutes. Starting prop, I think it was only 33 in this game, so 29 in the first, 33 in the second, something like that. For a starting prop captain in Origin, like, I just don't think it's enough.
What was it? Yeah, it was in fact for. Yeah, and I love Jake. I'm a big fan of Jake. He's been a fantastic servant for nearly a decade. What is he actually bringing to this team that either Spencer Lenu starting couldn't bring, Stefano starting wouldn't bring? The irony, actually, for Tigers fans, now I think of this as a Tigers fan, is that if Jake wasn't Jake, Stefano probably starts in his team and is then destined to keep playing for him for another 2 years. But you can't tell me Stefano's not in better form than he is. I'm just thinking about other props. Paulo brings more to the team, even in the current state he's in. I don't know. I don't know what he brings here. Mitch Barnett, the bloke on the bench.
Is it just 100%? All I can think is it's just to make sure that the ruck's secure for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, don't make him captain if he's only going to play the first 20 in the last handful.
I feel like it's Nathan Cleary was always going to be captain, and they couldn't pick Teddy, so they just had to pick someone who was there. And Isaiah, you've got Murray, you've got Murray.
Yeah. Well, and Yo
essentially became captain once he came on the field.
Yeah. But Stephen Crichton's definitely putting his hand up with the work he's doing at the Bulldogs to be a future New South Wales captain.
I think he probably ends up that way. That's right. Who do we even talk about Queensland?
It's if you're talking about Queensland, you're almost talking about the people that done nothing.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh had more of an impact in 7 minutes in game 1 than he did in 80 in game 2. That was arguably Ben Hunt's worst game of Origin. When I say worst, it's not like he missed a million tackles or anything, but he's just normally one of those guys that just gets into us, comes in and just does a great job. Harry Grant off the bench, that rotation that they have that's worked so well for so many years, it just wasn't there. But it just comes down to the forward domination from New South Wales. It's normally those little bits, those little sniffs that Queensland have is what make those two so good, and then everything else sort of just flows off them. But they just didn't have it, and by the time they did, the game was over.
Yeah. They'll be a different force up at Suncorp, but
100%.
That they got bashed. And
yeah,
I'd be very interested. Like we talked in the preview about Capel, we talked about a little bit about Kafusi and co, but I cannot imagine him not picking up the phone a Dave Fafita this week.
Well, they needed Dave Fafita after 20 minutes to come on and just try and trample some people.
Yeah, that was the only way back. Mo tried hardish and gave away a penalty, couple of errors, but he's the only size in the team when you really think about it. Like Collins is a big enough boy, but he's not. Cotter isn't. They got a bit exposed.
Cotter's the size of some of our centres.
Exactly. So they actually got a bit exposed on the back of that. We've mentioned Ewan Aitken before. We've mentioned Beau Fermor before, and Fafita. I know they're all edges, but they've probably got to revisit. I think Fafita is standing out there that they have to call back. Let us know below, by the way, on YouTube or where we might be, what you think. Val, and Hammer did do his shoulder, but that centre matchup just now isn't fair. Tuolungi tried very hard, actually. It's probably Tuolungi's best game in a long time, but the rest, I can't.
He did play very well.
And Carrigan tried very hard as well amidst some sin binning and stuff along the way. They, apart from that, they were just bashed out of the game, and they were non-forces. Interested to see how much pick and stick counts. I assume New South Wales will be same again. Yeah, they need some size at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. The crowd's gonna, the crowd gives them 10 points at least.
Yeah.
But
And
is that going to be
momentum.
enough?
It always felt like once it was 4 or 8-0, and Queensland aren't, and usually they hang in there, but they just never felt like they were chasing. Whereas if they score first, obviously a whole different setup. But
yeah, definitely.
Nano still are similar. Like you see what they bring to the table now. Any takeaways from this game apart from what we talked about?
Oh, those sin binnings would have to be the worst sin binnings in Origin history.
I was actually thinking about this today. I was actually talking to Flobs, a friend of the show, about it over a beer. And first of all, how Ashley Klein gets these gigs is slightly mind numbing. But in a game like this, actually would have, and I'm not his biggest fan, but like, it gets to the point where you have sin bins for that. You have the tackle in the first half where the bloke got dumped on his head and it was nothing, which was far worse than what we saw from RTS last week. There was other stuff through the game. Luai hitting someone, hitting DCE in back play, which would have been a penalty any day of the week. Didn't even get looked at. Bits and bobs. Like, from what Klein brings to the table, Grant Atkins would be a better Origin referee. And I'm not a fan of him at all. But at least he doesn't cop shit.
Yeah.
At least
definitely.
He treats everyone like a school teacher and pulls one in line. Before, we've seen Klein, when he loses control, he doesn't know how to get it back until something stupid like this happens.
Yeah.
Or
we
saw Sin Bin Sunday. We've seen it before. But if you're going to pick him, you may as well pick fucking Grant Atkins to referee this. I don't know what Adam G's done wrong, but oh gosh, the officiating was not good in this game. And then it was just a blatant second half. Let's really even up this penalty count so it doesn't look so bad.
Well, it wasn't even at the penalty count. It went beyond that. It went, let's make sure they don't hit 50 here type thing.
Yeah.
It just, I think it ended up 9-5 or something. And it was like 4-0 to start with. New South Wales ended up 9-5.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, that obviously doesn't include the 6 agains, but even some of those, I don't even. There was one 6 again that we got, and that's not a 6 again.
No.
There was nothing in it. It's like, yeah, you can't say he decided the match when the gap was so big.
But he did his best to even the playing field, or tip the playing field, I should say.
Yeah, you definitely say he influenced the match.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, some knocks from Reece Walsh. I can forgive him a little bit because what's he supposed to do in a situation like that? Like, your halves and fullback, what are they supposed to do when they're on the back foot? But obviously didn't have the most fantastic game. Interesting to see what happens with Hammer now going forward. But very, very impressive from New South Wales.
My guess would be Gagai comes in. He was the 18th man. So that'll be one force change. And yeah, I can see the bench rotation changing for them. Fafita just has to get a call up.
Yeah.
And then as for the second,
it could I suppose there's like no Flegler, no. You probably need to start Mo and even move Cotter into. I don't know.
You and Aiken, who you mentioned, or both Vermel, probably are both the best chance because they can play in the back line, but are second rowers. So it wouldn't surprise me to see one of those two actually get picked. Because for that exact reason, when the hammer went off, by not having Cobbo there this game, or it could be Cobbo. Cobbo could come back in.
Yeah, I don't, and no one still knows that story.
Yeah, no idea. That was an odd one.
I'm trying to think who the Cowboys
like just gone over in the ladies.
Oh, there they are. Yep. Anyway, yeah, interesting. What is your gut feel going into game 3? Queensland Suncorp different beast, or the gap's now flipped?
It's purely on Moses now, I think.
And we talked so much about, especially because we talked so much in game 1 about how the amount of ball they had and Nico couldn't couldn't convert. Now we've seen them convert.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think with this game, the talk wasn't so much on Moses because it was Latrell back, because it was Edwards' first game, because there was the new utility on the bench. There was so many things to talk about.
Great shout, because if it had have been just full on Mitch Moses in the spotlight, which it was for Nico, in fairness.
Yes.
Maybe it's a different game.
But so I think game 3, it will be, well, Moses, you just had the best Origin match of halfbacks had in the last, 15 years, 20 years, whatever they're saying. Can you do it again?
Yeah.
Because the pressure's now going to be on him.
Up against a bloke that gets the job done at Suncorp every time.
In a decider, which I can't remember the last time we won it. Well, we won not.
I don't think we've ever won a decider when we've been down. And we've been chasing.
Not since, I think it was 94, which game 2 was in Melbourne and game 3 was in Queensland. So yeah, I'm not old enough to remember that. And then we've won one of the last 10 deciders. So everything says Queensland's victory.
Yeah, we'll preview that in 3 weeks, and we will get into round 17 of the National Rugby League, with which is very interesting. Obviously, a few players on the quick backup early on. Not so much anyone from this first game, which kicks off on Friday night with the Dogs 6 o'clock game actually. Yeah, Dogs hosting the Sharks at a core. Black Taff comes in for poor old Connor Tracy, had his head knocked off last week. We've got, I'm just having a look through this. Drew Hutchinson out for Sherry back, and Stephen Crichton is in an extended bench. I dare say he probably plays if he feels good enough, but no, I've heard no word since. Jacob Preston also listed as 18th man, so could come back in for one of those bench players. For the Sharks, Helmanueli leaves for Tuki Hau Tapua to come onto the bench, and the rest is what we saw from last round. Very, very interesting game. How have you lined these up?
To be honest, I tipped the Bulldogs to start with. And then realised that Jared Sutton's the referee and they've got a terrible record, so I've gone Sharks purely off that. I genuinely give the Bulldogs a good chance in this. Their defence will be up for the task. If Stephen Crichton doesn't play, they don't win.
Yes.
But I'm thinking that he does back up, and pretty much if it was any other ref, I would tip the Dogs, 1-6. But seeing it's Sutton, I feel like they just don't win under him. I don't know what it is. That goes all the way back to that crazy Easter Friday, the Good Friday game with James Graham going off. It's just he's just got something in for that club. So I'd love to be proven wrong. I think that the Dogs can win, but I'm going to say the Sharks 1-12. The interesting things will be to see how those guys that have been in and around the Origin arena that weren't playing game 2. So you're looking at, McInnes, Nico. There was, Talakai's name did come up in conversation again. So just seeing how all those guys go. And on the other side for the Bulldogs, Burden, who can consider himself unlucky if something was to happen utility wise. Geez, how many more Blues players would have to fall before he finally does get selected somewhere in the side?
A couple now because the halves are short up for a while.
But I think it'll be a really good game. Great way to open up the rounds.
I really want to tip the Bulldogs here. I thought they were better than the score reflected against the Roosters. I don't think any of those conditions suited what happened there, but and they tried very hard. It was class prevailed there, but I think this is evenly matched. I really want to tip Dogs. I'm going to go Sharks 1-12 on the basis of, as you said, a few Nico, McGuinness, and I just actually think their forward pack is doing a bit better than some of these are for the Dogs. But I can see myself changing this. Tremendous contest in the back five because
they'd want to be in front, I reckon, by at least 12 points.
I wouldn't see them chase at all. I wouldn't see them chase. If Sharks have to chase, they're gone.
Yep.
Fuck it. I'm going to take the Bulldogs. Fuck it. Bulldogs 1-12. And I'm going to go Matt Burton man of the match. Here you go, a couple of bombs.
I might end up changing my tip. Ronaldo for first try scorer and Nico for man of the match. Pretty boring, but if the Sharks win, it'll be off the back of Nico.
If Sharks lose this, I just think you pen them for the 8 now. I think this is more ways than one a very crucial clash for both these teams to where they're at. I'll go Matt first try scorer Jacob Kiraz, who is in absolutely outstanding form. Super sad.
I bought him in this week.
So did I. So did I. But I have changed 6 times since. But I think he's coming in. I've just got to work out what to do. Speaking of which, getting this game, what to do with Fanua Blake, and I think I might cut my losses. Because the Wars host the Broncos at Go Media, and this is another game. First of all, I better do the teams. No Sean Johnson, Tamari Martin, and Tavita Harris are the halves. And DWZ is back. Barnett comes back into the team, as does Capel, but I guess we'll see how Capel pulls up.
Yeah, surely he's backing up. He only played a handful of minutes.
Yeah, and he's starting on the bench here, at least for now. Reece Walsh, Carrigan, and Haas all listed right now. Tristan Saylor's fullback, and Jesse Arthurs is back, which is good. And Jack Guzowski's starting. Gosh, help us all. I really want to. I'm going to Warriors, and I don't know.
So am I. They've already confirmed Walsh, Haas, and Carrigan aren't backing up.
I have? Okay.
Yep, that's been confirmed. So as long as that doesn't happen, Warriors.
I think they bounce back from the pits of where they got to last week, and being at home. And I really like that halves combination being back together. I think they get a little bit back and going from what they produced. I just have to say last week was a bad week. And they've not had a good season, but last week was awful. At home,
with SJ up for the next couple of weeks, if they go on another winning run before he's back, does he play again this year?
Probably, but he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because Tamari's red hot.
Yeah, it's one of those Andrew Webster's just too inexperienced of a coach to make the big call to say, look, these two are playing better than you.
In fairness, I don't think there's many coaches that would make that call.
Yes, that is true.
Outside of your Bennett, Cleary, Bellamy. Anyone else you're going to cop flack for it, but I think he should. And I would almost dare say someone like Fanua Blake's on his last legs as well, if he's not, given what they produced. That said, I'm going to go 1-12 Warriors. And I think in terms of tipping comps, it's one you can pinch because I don't think Brisbane are going any good. I think they've become super frantic. It is a really, really, really inexperienced 8 through 17 when you look at that on paper.
Yeah, definitely.
It's now, if you look at seasoned first graders in this team, you're looking at Arthurs, Staggs, Cobbo, Mam, Walters, and then the rest. And now it's now baby Broncos again. And I don't think everyone's picked up on that. I think Warriors can win this. I don't know prices actually in terms of betting.
So it's the Warriors have actually now come into favourites $1.87 to $1.97. Earlier in the week, I think it was like $2.20 to $1.80, $1.70.
Yeah,
something like that. So
the more I talk about this, the more I'm keen. I think Warriors bounce back. I'm going to go with man of the match, Mitch Barnett, owning Piakura and Guzowski. Gosh help me. Tohu Harris will get through, so Tohu will be a man amongst men here. First try scorer, let's go to Mario Martin.
So, yeah, Warriors 1-12. First try scorer, I'm actually going to go Adam to have a big game.
Okay, he needs to.
He needs to, that's it. So, yeah, going Adam and then Tamari Martin, man of the match.
Very, very interesting game. Again, Knights and Eels. 5:30 from Newcastle. Will Price makes his NRL debut. Matt Spruiked NRL debut at 5'8". Kai Pearce-Paul on the bench, but there's still some clouds around, I believe. Mitch Moses named to back up for Para. And the rest... Oh, and Ryan Madison's back as well. Matthew Arthur making his debut.
On debut, yeah.
Yeah, so Lane Cartwright, Joffa, Madison, that they are as strong as they can get here in the front, in the forward pack. The
They're
Eels,
missing Hopgood, who's been confirmed out for the rest of the season with
back.
a back injury, something to do with his discs, 12-week layoff. So he'll be starting the preseason early.
All the best to him because it's been a rough second year for him. What are we doing here?
I've changed this tip at least 4 times. Started with Newcastle and then looked and thought Eels on paper should win this, and then went, no, because they're the Eels, they'll lose. And then after Moses' performance last night, I've gone back to the Eels. It's one of those games where either side could win by 30 and it wouldn't shock you.
Or it could go to Golden Point and be like the biggest bludger of all bludgers.
Yeah, it could be like what was it, the Tigers-Titans game a couple of years ago? 4-6 with a try on the siren.
Don't remind me. I sort of agree with you. I just don't think Newcastle are going that well, and I think that Brown's been in good form as a lone hand. They haven't had Gutho much. He's back. Moses coming off a high and getting, I think Madison coming back finally with Lane having a decent enough game last time out, and I think they'll improve. Cartwright's only just really getting back to through his work. Man, if they don't win this, they're not going to win another game. I'm going to go Para 1-12 and with 0 confidence, and I'll probably regret it. I go man of the match, Mitch Moses, as you said, backing up as big a confidence player as there is in the comp. First try scorer. Let's see if he finds that short ball to the back rower, and let's go with Sean Lane.
Yeah, so I've gone Eels 1-12, and actually Dylan Brown for the double. First try scorer and man of the match. I think Moses will control the game quite nicely, and when he does that, Dylan Brown normally gets to play at his best.
Absolutely. Big watch on Fletcher Sharp, who is a gun. I like him.
Yeah.
Storm hosts the Raiders at 7:30 on Super Saturday, and Coates and Grant both named to back up. Neither did a great deal apart from get bashed the other day, so perhaps will. Howarth goes into the centres to replace Meaney, who's out, and Bronson Garlick goes back to the bench. Remus Smith, 18th man, we could see him back, as is Fa'alongo on the extended bench. Tom Starling's back. Zach Wolford goes out from their bench, and Jordan McLean has been named to make his NRL debut. Albert Hopper-White also comes onto the wing for Kotrick. Look, how do you tip Canberra after what they've produced for this last month?
I was going to say Canberra are more of an outsider after their loss last week to the Tigers than the Tigers are against the Roosters.
I'd agree with that. And like I said, if Rapana wasn't in this team, I would dread to think about what this team produces because he cleans up a lot of their crap. 13+ Storm, first try scorer. Another daily double here. I thought Pappy had a good game. It didn't translate to Supercoach points. It didn't, wasn't very well spruiked, but I thought he had a good game last week. And I think we're going to sound the alarm on a couple of occasions here. He gets some clear air and he will look like the gun he is. So Pappenhausen, first try and man of the match. Thoughts?
This will be one of those games where you have a 6-leg try scorer multi and miss by 1.
Absolutely.
But one of your players will get a hat trick. Jerome Hughes. I can't go past Jerome Hughes, man of the match. Every time Melbourne seem to do something, he's always there. And as for first try scorer, Xavier Coates, if he plays, I'm going him early.
He's been very quiet lately, hasn't he, Coates? He's not been.
He has been. So, but that's just those Queensland players in general. When they lose, they like to bounce back quite hard.
Yep.
So, him and Harry in this game. I'm expecting a big game from Harry as well. What's it going to be? 40 points?
I think so. Good week
if they produce what they did last week, Melbourne would put 60 on them.
100%. And may still well. Good. I reckon if you're going to have one of your 6-leg multis, make sure those back rowers go in. Bloor and Katoa.
Katoa and Bloor. And then, pick your 4 backs and then watch you miss one of your backs because the other one scored.
Yep. We've got Super Sunday as well. UFC 302 on as well. I'll be there at St Mary's Leagues. Come and say hello to check that out. But Dragons Dolphins kicks us off at 2 p.m. Dragons back off their break, which sees Sully into the team, Tuipulotu out, and Jack Bird named on the bench after looking like his leg had been snapped clean in half. Sewer and Hunt both named to back up, as is Lomax, and I suggest they all will because they're all tough as teak. Dolphins have Hammond named at 1, but he did have that AC concern.
He's already out, so Trey Fuller's going to be coming in.
Gosh, that's a shame. Tessie News on the wing for Bostock, losing, obviously having to put his head back together, and TPJ's still there. Dolphins going great.
The Dragons are the favourites on betting right now.
That is madness. What price? I should bring up.
$1.86 to $1.98.
Dolphins are complete and utter morals here. They will win, and they will win well.
I think so. I think their defense is just too good. Even though I just mentioned, that Queensland factor, I feel Ben Hunt will have a really good game. Dolphins they do what's needed to get the job done. They almost beat Melbourne last week. Hammer out is a big loss, but this Trey Fuller kid is amazing to watch. And then Bostock, again, Bostock's going with Tessie New coming in, a bit more of a drop off there, but definitely, it's a winger. It's not bad enough that it's going to cost you the game.
And not with a winger replacing him. The problem was last week they lost Herbie out wide, and then Herbie moved, Aitken went out there, blah blah blah. This is fine.
Exactly.
This is fine.
Yeah.
Keep going. Finish off the
stats. I think Dolphins 13 plus.
Yep.
I just looking at those lineups, how can you be one try off Melbourne and then be not the favourites to beat the Dragons?
And an unlucky one try off Melbourne.
Yeah. If Lemu grounds that ball, there's a conversion next to the post, and it's even at full time. And these are the type of games that they need to start winning if they want to stay in that top 4 hunt.
Yes.
They lost the similar game to this to the Canberra a few weeks back, where they just let it slip. So they have done it in the past, but I don't think they're going to do it this weekend.
Yeah, well, last year we were pretty good at pinpointing where the gas ran out, and I don't think the gas has run out. I think they're going fine. They should have beat Melbourne. They're unlucky a couple of weeks back. You can forgive almost all their losses, and they're all fresh. None of the, apart from Hammer, they're all ready to go. I think there's points to be had here, and I almost want to go 13 plus 2, but I'm going to say Dolphins best bet of the weekend. I'm going to say 1 to 12. I think this forward pack really They did a great job last week, given they had all middles on the bench, and they still do actually. But they'll be fine. 13 plus, man of the match. Nicarima, I thought he had a real good game last week without producing all the points, but they still found enough of him. First try scorer. I didn't get Herbie last week, so he'll bounce back this week and score first.
I'll go as long as he does start Trey Fuller, man of the match with Jeremy Marshall King. I think he'll do wonders around the ruck. Because I feel like they're just going to be too good.
People are still sleeping on the Dolphins, and I think they're going to either finish 4th or 5th and ever go, oh my God, how'd that happen? Whereas they're a good team.
Yeah, they're a good team with a good coach. And as you said, that gas that they ran out of last year, they shouldn't have that this year. There's no reason for them to have it this year. They should be fine when push comes to shove.
Correct.
When finals time.
Panthers host the Cowboys at Bluebet, in fact, where Mitch, Kenny, and Jack Cole are both back. Luai named to back up, as is everyone else. Edwards and Bizza and Yo and Martin. And given it's, I imagine they will. I don't think there are any problems here for Penrith. With all the Queenslanders are named to back up as well.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Holmes,
He always does this. Sorry, I tell a lie.
Yeah, Dearden, Robson, Cotter, all are not playing, and if that's the case, Panthers will put 50 on them.
Not much to add. I actually, Nanai's definitely out. The rest we haven't seen. I imagine. Hey, we'll wait and see. I don't know. I agree. What are we supposed to say
They
here?
they can't.
I don't
If
think
they
they're a
want to,
chance
if they
anyway.
want to play finals, they need to be playing full strength this game.
Yeah, I think they get towed. I agree. 13 plus Penrith, even with the players there. Man of the match, Jerome Luai, good footballer, and Paul Alamorde, fresh and scoring points out. Actually, no, with the first try assist for Bizza, who is finally getting some ballers here, and will score again first.
I'm going Dylan Edwards to be man of the match with Scott Sorensen to be first try scorer. I think they're just going to dominate the middle. And yeah, there'll be a few forwards scoring tries, especially if the Cowboys are missing. Well, yeah, Nenai's one, Robson in the middle, Cotter in the middle. Like if they're missing those three, Panthers are just going to run through them. They won't even have to go around them.
How do you make a case for any of this back five really against them?
Yeah,
we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, isn't there one more?
Yeah, we're going to wrap up with this game. The Chooks hosting the Tigers from Allianz, and the Tigers look pretty good too. Tupanua, where are we? Comes into the centres, actually. Okay, righto. Tupanua comes in the centres. Cheese starts. Watson 13, Radley Crichton back row, Lenu, White, Butcher, Collins the bench. I dare say some of that might flip and flop around before we get to kick off. David Clemmers back for the Tigers. He's on the bench. Heath Mason gets the 14 spot. And we get Ruben Porter starting in the back row. Dewey keeps that spot. We've got Bateman and Olam on an extended bench who potentially comes in for Nade and pushes Fatapi or someone similar out of that side. I assume if Bateman's around, he starts for Porter, would be my gut feeling there. Hey, they could almost play him at 14. He'd be pretty bloody good at it. But unfortunately, after two in a row, I can't tip them against the Chooks. I think those young forwards are actually going really well, and it's a game that I wish they could sit them out a little bit and have Bateman and Clemmer and Twile copper flogging here. But they'll live and learn from it. Roosters 13 plus. Teddy man of the match, fired up and fresh and ready to go. Great captaincy option here. And first try scorer. I'm going to go Daniel Tupou. Those 6 foot plus wingers on a couple of midgets on the Tigers.
I was going
wings.
Daniel Tupou. Apparently, he scored like 16 tries in 13 games or something against the Tigers.
Yeah, and there's no Alex Lobb. There's no. Who's the other guy who got injured? No, the other tall winger. I can't think his name's out. Yeah, Lou Ali. He was very, very good last week, and Fatapi several inches shorter, and I think they're going to be a real point of attack here for the Chooks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty messy, and yeah, I had the same as you with Teddy as well. When was the last time you guys won 3 straight?
Good question. 2019, maybe? I don't know. I'd have to think.
Well, stranger things have happened.
They have. They're playing. They've found a good groove, the Tigers, but this is different gravy.
This is a game where you just hope if they could still be in it at the 60-minute mark, you'd be happy.
I would take losing by 8 here. Like I'd be stoked.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if even if you could somehow be like ahead 22-18 or something with 20 to go and you lost it from there, be like, at least we gave it everything and we were in it for 3/4 of it.
Absolutely. Beautiful. That is our look through round 17. We'll be back to preview all of this. What's got you frothing this weekend? Anything that's caught your eye?
It's the season's like it's coming to that business end now. So it's time for some of these sides that are hovering to sort of put a stamp down on it. The Bulldogs Sharks is a great one to start. That's as you said. Bulldogs win this, you can always pencil them in for a final spot. They lose this, well, they're going to be pushing right on that boundary. The Dolphins, it's another. It's not so much a must win, but it is if they want to keep their top 4 spots alive. There's just some of these games are almost turning into 4-point games.
It's absolutely clutch
because
time now.
Yeah, because of how close the ladder is.
Broncos Warriors. Broncos have to win this, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Bulldogs Sharks.
That's almost a
must-win.
4-point game.
Yeah, pardon me, absolutely. And not so much from a top 8 point of view, but Knights Eels, just interested to see where they're at. But yeah, Dolphins Dragons, you can pen, and Cowboys you can pen after this weekend.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there's probably 4 or 5 sides that have already been penned. There could be a couple more.
Oh, they're penned, but it's whether they can claw under. I'm saying clawing into 8th, and
yeah,
no interest here.
But no, it'll be hopefully some nice weather, and unlike last week, we get some right captaincy choices. So
yeah, Teddy's
for super coach purposes.
Isn't Teddy there just enticing for everyone, eh?
But yeah, he'll be 50% of people that are still playing surely are captaining him this week.
I would have thought, yeah. But some nice vice captains early in the round as well. If you've got them, I would have thought someone like
Jerome Hughes against Raiders.
Absolutely, or Katoa. Katoa's tempting in that game.
I don't have 17 players this week, so it's an easy loop.
Good luck, my friend. Good luck. Cool. Thanks, Danaan.
All good, mate. Thanks for having me on again.
Yep. Leave us some comments, and we'll do it all again next week. Thanks, guys.
Oh, sounds good.